Not a bad transition.
Yeah, I can see it.
Let me do my little test.
Yes, sir.
Nope. Now we live, baby. Now we live. We tapped in. Grand Rising to all, man. Make sure that as y'all are joining, y'all are liking to help boost the algorithm. Shout out to everybody who's already tapped in. I saw y'all had the chat going early. Shout out to Critical in the building, tapping in first and foremost.
My boy Abu Han.
Abu Han in the building? Nah, Abu Han ain't in the building this early.
Already.
Abu Han, oh, we gonna have a great show.
Yes, sir. Abu Han in the building.
When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. The Honorable Marcus Aurelius. Shout out to Finn, always giving us the game bright and early. Shout out to Big Bro Steve. Morning, y'all. Good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good gets better and your better gets best. Let's go. That's the tagline, Big Bro. Love that. Waste no time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. All right, y'all giving the game early this beautiful, what is it, Wednesday? This Wednesday rising. Good morning to the fisherman and the keeper of wisdom. Hope you're well, fellas. Everything is everything, and you were right. Abu Han is in the building. Yeah, we need one of them funk flex bombs. I need to somebody drop a bomb for Abu Han. No pun intended with all the craziness going on. If you are easily moved to emotion, you might be a useful idiot. A lot of us get caught up in this trap, critical. A lot of us. Morning, everyone. Shout out to Samira in the building. Morning, everyone. Driving. Already did 2 grocery orders this morning. People drive me nuts. Plastic Imperial butter sticks and oat milk. Like you are either healthy or you're not. So the Plastic Imperial butter sticks and oat milk. That's what she's delivering. Like you gotta pick and choose. You can't be trying to straddle the fence. Either you're gonna go full unhealthy, or you're gonna get full right. Take care of your body. Yeah, I'm with you, Samira.
No balance.
No balance. Balance is for suckers, man. Come on, bro. That's what they told you to do. Have a nice work-life balance. Don't go hard. You can just, work 9 to 5. We'll give you a check every month. No, let me stop. Let me not get into it. Nah, you got to have the work-life balance. So, I mean, I guess does balance work when it comes to health? I guess so. Yeah.
Each its own.
All right. I like Finn always shows love. He shows safety is a defensive back who acts as the last line of defense, protecting against long passes and big plays. Seems to me that's more than just a position on the field. It speaks to character and purpose. Talk to him, Finn. Stop playing. Man. Shout out to Michelle tapping in from Kentucky. Got to try not to get kicked out today. Wish me luck. Nah, Michelle, you are not getting kicked out. BK, stop. Yo, chill out, bro.
Nah, don't be soft today. You be all
right. Come on, bro. she said that to you yesterday.
Nah,
let me not start nothing. Shout out to Phyllis tapping in early from San Diego. Beautiful San Diego, man. And Abu Han said, "What? You got kicked out?" Nah, nobody got kicked out. Nobody's getting kicked out. Come on. Is that it? I don't see any. Do I see any other names on here? Hold on. Shout out to South Dakota Slim coming in with the base.
What's that? All right, that's some lingo y'all got.
All right, Glay. I have no videos on the schedule. We just gonna talk. Let me stop. Michelle, I like Michelle, bro. She got a little sense of humor, yo. I like her. I like her, man. Samira, if I was you, man, just take up the oat milk, man, and get her some healthy butter. Get her some. I
think she's working right now. Butter. She working right now. I think.
Samira.
Yeah. She says, "I got to take this up to them real quick. Be right back."
She's doing some deliveries. Yeah. Nah, don't take that. Actually, I mean, the real butter is probably healthier than the butter. I don't know. Yeah. Who knows now?
Not that I can't believe it ain't butter.
Huh? Not that I can't believe. Yeah, I don't know. The amount. Think about all the gimmicks that we fell into. From I can't believe it's not butter to ginger ale. Like, bro, that's just soda. It's just soda.
I am guilty.
Yeah, I mean, we all do it. It's like, have some ginger ale. You're not feeling well. That is soda. Get some ginger beer. I think that's the real.
From the ginger root.
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah. Wild, bro.
Man, they talking about calling chicken kebabs. They talking about your chicken kebab game.
Oh yeah. I put it in the Discord yesterday.
Yo, check out Glabo.
I got the marinades going, so today they go on the skewer. So,
all right. So all right, we're gonna have to start some cooking shows, cooking with Glay.
Yeah, cooking with Glay, and we're gonna pull.
It'll be available on the Patreon. So let's talk. Happy Hanukkah to those that celebrate. Donald Trump, he kicked off the Hanukkah celebrations, and Mark Levin, he reminded us of what we have all come to know. I think at this point we got to just acknowledge it, that Donald Trump is our first Jewish president, and he accepted that honor. Mark Levin gave him that honor, and it starts to make things make a lot more sense, actually. But here's a video from, I already got it queued up, shout out to me, that Trump is a bit concerned and unhappy that the Israel lobby is losing its influence over America. And it's almost as if he was, scolding Israel, like saying, y'all better pick it up, man. Y'all better step it up. So obviously this is a reoccurring conversation that we always have pertaining to the Israel lobby and how it's influencing a lot of our politicians. And when you watch this video, it's almost like, does Trump even care at this point? Like, does he care that he's losing the credibility of the people that voted for him? And when you hear stuff like this, it just makes you wonder, who he's actually playing for. But let's take a look at this. We'll get everybody's reaction and go from there. I am joined. All right, it's on the screen, Glad. Yep, I see it.
Yep, I'm good to go. What's up? What's
10,
up, Mom?
12, 15 years ago at the most, the strongest lobby in Washington was the Jewish lobby. It was Israel. That's no longer true. You have to be very careful. You have a Congress in particular which is becoming anti-Semitic. You have AOC +3. You have those people, Ilhan Omar, she hates Jewish people. And you have to be very careful because there's been a big change. If you...
Let me blow my nose, Glay. Or you want me to go first as far as sharing the thoughts?
We'll run it back one more time. I need to.
All right, I got you. Yeah, I'll run it back one more time.
And I will say, if you go back 10, 12, 15 years ago at the most, the strongest lobby in Washington was the Jewish lobby. It was Israel. That's no longer true. You have to be very careful. You have a Congress in particular which is becoming anti-Semitic. You have AOC +3. You have those people, Ilhan Omar, she hates Jewish people. And you have to be very careful because there's been a big change. If you...
Okay. Just the way we loosely use that word, anti-Semitic, it's just wild, just out the gate. Like, it's a free-for-all. Like, just throw it in your political agenda, throw it in your conversation, throw it on Instagram comments, just like keep running that play. It's just wild. But also, explain to me this, Dag, the lobby situation. When did that start? Like, not just necessarily just Israel and how they're operating, but what started the concept of lobbying and why does it exist to this day?
That's a good question. And somebody actually asked a question similar to that yesterday, but let's look it up.
Okay, yeah.
Let's look it up. Yeah, we actually missed. When did lobbying start in American politics? That's a good question, bro. That's a good question. And while that, so it says lobbying in American politics didn't start at a single moment, but it developed gradually alongside the U.S. government itself. Early origins, the 1700s to the early 1800s, there was a colonial and revolutionary era. Even before the Constitution, interest groups were petitioning colonial assemblies and British authorities. Petitioning the government was considered a basic right, later protected by the First Amendment. Then from 1789 into the early republic, it says after Congress was formed, which Donald Trump just referenced, citizens, businesses, veterans, and land speculators regularly sent petitions, met directly with lawmakers. This was viewed as a normal civic participation, not corruption. Notice how in any of this stuff, they're not talking about money. Let me actually ask ChatGPT, when did the lobbying as far as money enter politics? Because that's what you really like. That's what your main focus on, the money.
Yeah,
aspect,
like
right?
kind of like what? When did it enter the chat? And then like, why is it so hard for like?
So it says that in that early republic, that 1790 to 1820s, money existed, but it was not like the dominant force. Wealthy merchants, bankers, and land speculators funded campaigns, paid for pamphlets and newspapers, used personal relationships to influence lawmakers. There was no formal campaign finance laws. Whoa, no formal campaign finance laws. Damn, that's some real. If there's no finance laws, then it's really just whoever got the biggest bank, and they can do what they want with it. It still works to some extent that way. But I guess they got some regulations now. But influence was at this time more elite based, not mass or corporate. I don't see the difference in now. Influence is elite based. It just influences the corporations, in my opinion. But then in the 1820s and the 1840s, the expansions of banks, infrastructure projects, tariff and land grants, I guess they escalated. Businesses starting to contribute more money into politics. And this is when actually the term lobbyist becomes a common thing. It was still informal at this point, but the influence for money is visible. So this is the 1820s to the 1840s. And it says that the Gilded Age of the 1870s to the 1900s, that was the turning point. This is when money truly starts to take over. This is the moment when so this is the railroads, the oil, the steel, and the banking interests. They paid lawmakers directly, bribed entire legislatures, funded campaigns openly. And the lobbyists, they wrote legislation, they controlled access to politicians, they provided retainers to lawmakers. I'm not even sure that the majority of us understand how, I know that I didn't understand it, how this all worked, the history behind it. And if we were taught this earlier, then we would have known like how to look out for the BS a lot sooner than perhaps we have. This is, wow. So then, the 1900s to 1940s, that was called the phase of early regulation. Money still dominated, but reform began. This is when the progressive era reforms attempt to limit corporate campaign donations, bribery. It was the 1907 Tillman Act, which was the first federal law banning corporate contributions to federal campaigns. So, the next phase is the 1970s through the present. That's the modern money politics phase that I think we are more familiar with it than we'd like. So that's the brief little history lesson.
Okay, interesting.
But now responding to the video, some thoughts came to mind. For one, it's like, bro, you're really pushing people, like dangling this in front of them, like, yo, y'all used to be number one. Like, why are you pushing for this? Like, have some awareness. People are literally saying that you're being controlled by this particular group. And now you're almost like giving them the heads up or showing some type of support or saying like, yo, what are y'all doing? Like, y'all used to be number one. Y'all need to be very concerned about this, that now all these other groups have power. You bring up Ilhan Omar. Trump is just playing into the same bad Muslim, good Jewish. You know what I mean? He's playing into the same narrative. He's been playing into it for, I don't know why we'd be surprised at this point, but it's just that every time he does something, is this what it felt like to be on, like, to be rocking and pushing Joe Biden? Like, is this what this felt like? Like, damn, I couldn't imagine if I was still supporting this BS. Like a lot of people still are and not calling it out, but this is wild, bro.
Definitely cringe.
Every time he opens his mouth, it's like everybody's worst fears. And it almost, for me, goes back to how I was feeling about like him in 2016. And I'm like, I don't know. And in my mind, I'm gonna have to go do a whole deep dive into some breath work and figure out like, how I was feeling about him in 2016, how my feelings, started to change based on certain things. And then ultimately how I landed in the position of voting for him. I gotta do some soul searching on this one, bro.
And what do you think? What I'm interested to see this because I got on the Trump awareness train as far as seeing through the extraness of him. I got on board on that late. What are the things and what were the things that drew a lot of people to him other than what they put all over the media, like he's race baiting and all that? But like, what were the things that you felt like aligned with you and a lot of people to be?
So since you're saying me, you're talking about more recently, not like the 2016.
Like, give me both, actually.
Well, 2016, I can't even tell you because I was so biased as far as my views on Donald Trump. Like, I couldn't stand it. Like, I felt that it was just disrespectful off the jump to be saying, to be pushing a campaign that says make America great again, which clearly is going to offend certain groups of people that never feel like America was great for them. You know, people could take offense to that all you want. If you don't feel like the country's been great to you, that's your decision to feel that way. And when you have somebody pushing saying that it was great, it's almost as if, oh, he's not talking to me. Like with his message, whatever it is that he's pushing is not for me. And then I also got caught up in, you know, being in a place where I was not feeling Barack Obama. Like by the end of Barack Obama's term, I did not like Barack Obama. I thought that he ran game on us. I thought that he finessed us. And then his speech when he left out, I always recommend that people watch this. I felt like that was the true Obama, like finally coming out, and where he pretty much called out Black people for doing all the race baiting, or that's kind of how I felt. Like, don't play victim. When you ran, like you got elected president running on this whole victimhood. But now I guess when you got what you wanted, you kind of moved in a different direction. But pertaining to Trump, like my mindset was, I'm like, yo, how can anybody support him? Like he's racist. Like, so if you're supporting him, you're racist. Like, you know what I mean? You may not be doing it right. It may not be direct, but you know, a lot of quote unquote racism may not be perceived as, you know, direct, but more so on the indirect, the unconscious bias or whatever you want to call it. But even with the Charlottesville video came out and Trump was talking about, you know, there's fine people on both sides, but they cut the tape. So for another, you know, 4 or 5 years after that, I was thinking that, damn, here you got Nazis and these racist folk on a college campus, and Donald Trump's talking about there's fine people on both sides, but they cut off the speech and didn't allow him. They were saying like he didn't condemn these people. He 2 sentences later, he clarified himself and saying like, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists. They should be condemned at all costs. But that's not the story that was being pushed. So I was completely manipulated when it came to that, like my views. Now, I'm not saying that clearly I wasn't completely manipulated based on some of the things that we're seeing now. Like some of those feelings that I had towards him were definitely legit. Where it shifted for me was, one, I was moving in a direction of, you know, I didn't vote those last 2, the Donald Trump against Hillary and then Donald Trump against Joe Biden. I didn't vote in those elections because I just felt like me voting is not beneficial. Like I thought that it would be more beneficial, wake people up by taking a step back and saying, yeah, I'm not just going to give my vote away to anybody. Y'all got to earn it. And obviously that wasn't something that I felt was being done. Fast forward to Donald Trump running against Joe Biden. I was an RFK guy, but I was already not hating on Trump the way that I was hating on him in 2016. And I started to get more and more offended by the things that the Democrats and the liberals were pushing. I saw the country moving in a direction that I thought was crazy, still think is crazy. And the Democrats and liberals, they have tried to push back a little bit on these things. But when you have a president in Joe Biden, you know, his number one priority, he said, was the LGBTQ community. I took great offense to that, bro. You're the person that put the crime bill in place. Like, you're the person that put the crime bill in place, but then want to go on to and talk to Charlemagne about you ain't Black unless you vote for me. So a lot of my disdain for what the Democrats are doing with the liberals, when you can't tell me what a woman is, when you're pushing for all this feminist movement stuff, when you're pushing this Me Too movement, believe all women, when you're pushing for boys to be playing sports against girls, when you're pushing all this trans stuff, you got drag queens reading books to kids in school or the libraries. When you got these books that you're putting in these schools that are describing how little boys perform sexual acts on other little boys. Like, it was the cultural issues. When you have a government that you see what's going on between Israel and Palestine. And I didn't think that Joe Biden, and it came out after the election, that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris ever even asked for a ceasefire. Like, I thought that their leadership was too weak. When it came to the border, I did not like that they had 10 million people coming in the border, just inviting people in the border, when that drains our infrastructure, that collapses our infrastructure in a lot of ways. That's why you heard people like Mayor Eric Adams saying like, hey, you know, this is going to be the death of New York City. Y'all keep allowing these people in that we have to pay for their housing. We have to pay for their education. We have to pay for their food. I thought that Democrats were just inheriting, or I should say, just bringing people in that would be their next voter base. So it was a combination of, I probably allowed myself to get fear mongered into where I could see the country going, which I still think that it was moving in a crazy direction. Like I can't support any, when you got a politician on one side saying that they don't know what a woman is and that they're cool with boys playing sports against girls, they're cool with teachers not having to tell parents that their kids are transitioning. That to me, I'll never support. Like I could never, ever, ever support in any way. And I don't understand how people did, but to each their own. Well, I'm sure that a lot of people feel the same way when it comes to me supporting Trump. Then you look at, so I was supporting RFK Jr. Donald Trump wasn't offending me though. In a lot of ways, I liked the things that he was saying and speaking out against. And he kind of took on perhaps almost like this Diddy type of role now, where it was like, all y'all keep trying to go after him. And what I thought was politicizing the government in an unfair way, going at Trump just because they were scared for him to actually run. And there was probably the first thing that he ever said that kind of got me to think was before that, when he mentioned the Hillary Clinton, he was debating her and he said, well, what do black people have to lose? So I'm trying to give you like the whole context, the whole story of all this stuff. But for me, when he brought RFK Jr. on his team, I had to make a decision of, here I was getting ready to vote for RFK Jr. Was I going to transfer that support now to Donald Trump? Ironically, when I look at what Donald Trump has done, the few positives that I can have takeaways or feel good about have been with RFK Jr. Doing certain things with taking some of the dyes out of these foods that I believe that are hurting a lot of people, taking a lot of the vaccines off the schedule, not making the 2020 jab. I believe he made it. He took it off the some schedule. I forget exactly what it was, but those have been really a few wins. But for me, my stance, just to clarify and to wrap it up, is on the border. I did not like. I was pissed off at the Democrats, their stance on the border. For number two, it was the cultural issues, all those cultural issues that I just named. Three, I thought that from an economy standpoint, I don't like pushing a lot of the social programs and handouts because I think that they hinder a lot of people. So the economy was really on the back burner. For me, the main things were the wars that were going on that I thought Donald Trump would deliver on, which is one of the things that I'm most disappointed on: Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Palestine, the cultural issues, and then the mass migration of people, 10 million in 4 years. And then it was the economy, different things that I thought about that.
Gotcha.
Sorry to give you a whole spiel.
No.
That's
Good to know how you got on board. Okay.
Yeah. And now I got to call out. That's exactly what we've been doing the last few months. Call out this BS, bro. Like literally, if you remove the Israel influence from Donald Trump's administration, I probably would get a lot of those things done that I'm asking for. But with that Israel influence, it's just not likely. I mean, things just came out. Something just came out. I wasn't even going to put it on the screen for us today because I didn't even read the article, but Tucker just reposted something saying that now it looks like Israel was influential in us getting ready to go into Venezuela, or I think it was Venezuela. Yeah. And it's just like, and who knows whether to believe all this stuff. It's gotten to the point where Donald Trump is just making it very easy to believe a lot of these things that could be conspiracy theories. Like when it used to be a conspiracy theory saying that Jews control the world, Jews control our American politicians. But now you got our president talking to Jewish people saying like, yo, y'all used to be the number one lobby. What happened to y'all?
Yeah.
You got people, the next video that I'll show you is Mark Levin saying that, hey, I knew Donald Trump was going to be the first or Jewish president or something. It's like, bro, this is insanity. It's insanity. So I don't know. I already talked y'all ear off about that. Hold on. Unc said nephew, I got a question. Where do you think we'd be if the little round guy from Jersey got in the office? You talking about Chris Christie? Yo, I don't know. And another thing that this presidency has shown me is how, at the same time, I guess it's the one and the same, how much power a particular lobby has. And perhaps I was ignorant, and I would say that I was ignorant from this standpoint of bro, money runs everything. Money runs everything. The people with money, they're not going to just bet on one side, on Democrats or Republicans. That's what like the peasants do. The peasants only are allowed to vote for one or the other. The people that run the show, the people that control things, you think that they're ever gonna just bet on black at the roulette table, or they're going to put chips on black, red, and green, knowing that they're the house, they're gonna win all the time anyway, and that they're actually they're actually able to win more back than they actually gamble. People put money onto both Democrats and Republicans. Look at the groups that actually get stuff done. All that stuff Donald Trump was talking when it came to the migrants and putting Americans first. Then he does an interview and says that Americans have no talent. That's why we got to bring in all these Indians to help with Silicon Valley, and we're going to give them H-1B visas. You know, he says that he's worried about the schools. The same person that talks crazy about all these schools and these institutions that are super Democrat, super liberal. Now he's looking out for them because, you know, they'll go into bankruptcy if we don't have thousands and thousands of Chinese students coming in. Like all these things, bro, there's no, there's Silicon Valley, there's Israel, and there's Big Pharma. That's who runs everything. There's no, you can vote for whoever it is that you want to vote for. At the end of the day, that's just a position. It's just a position, a desk that a chair that somebody's going to sit at while they do the bidding of the people that give them money. And the people that give Donald Trump money are the same people that are going to give Barack Obama money, that gave Joe Biden money, that gave George Bush money. It's all the same thing, bro. Like people in power are not leaving things up for chance. Like we get confused on, I guess, from time to time. But that's just my stance, bro. That's just my stance.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. But looking at it from afar, like it's hard to see the people that are actually getting their agenda accomplished. They're not the ones that do what we do, like us versus them. They're not the Megyn Kellys and conservative. Like those are the pawns that speak for those people. Like the Mark Levin, the Megyn Kellys, those are all just pawns, bro. Those are all just pawns that do the bidding of one side versus the other. Like those are the people like, all right, cause some commotion, but at the end of the day, we're gonna, put our money into both.
Right, you know what it is.
Yeah. So here we are. Here we are. Do we need to even play that second Trump video? I don't think so. Why don't we move the conversation into, we were going to talk about this whole concept of identity politics. We actually got a video of that Nick was playing, or Nick reposted. It's a Tucker video. And then we have we may pivot into a few different areas regarding this, even to the Honorable Louis Farrakhan video. So let's start off with this Nick versus Tucker video on identity politics. You give me your thoughts. So Nick put this up, and I don't know if you guys can read. It's a little small, but it says, it's obvious now that Tucker and his BFF, JD Vance, have been deployed to suppress white identity politics, tribalism for Jews, blacks, and Indians, but universal principles for white people. That's exactly how we got here. And I think there's a deeper conversation around all this, but we'll play the clip and then we'll get into it afterwards.
First of all, Fuentes is saying a lot of true things. That's why he's popular. He's funny. He's smart. But
he's a good broadcaster. Yeah.
He's a great broadcaster. But Fuentes, on some macro level, is troubling because his platform is an expression of something that has kind of taken over all political discourse, which is identity politics, tribalism. And I'm just opposed to that, period, and always will be. And I just think that we're governed by universal principles, or we're governed by the mafia. Those are our choices. And so, our principles have to apply to every human being, or certainly every American citizen, period, or they're not principles. They're just a justification for tyranny. So Fuentes, has a different kind of identity politics, but there are all kinds of different identity politics. We lived under it during the Biden years. We've lived under it most of my life, actually, in one form or another. First of all, Fuentes is saying a lot.
the whole concept of identity politics. It's just the easiest thing to corral people on. It's the easiest thing. And when I hear, maybe actually I should play this video of, but yeah, give your thoughts, but maybe in the background, I'm thinking that I should play this video of Nick actually discussing his views on identity politics, and then maybe we can have a bigger conversation. But keep going. You tell me what you're thinking. You there? Oh, you on mute, bro. You on mute.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, you know, I just find it I find it interesting how, you know, what is the bigger, what is, if Nick Fuentes is speaking for a huge group of people and tapped in with that community, I guess what I'm constantly seeing videos similar to like what even Tucker said. Like I think was it Ben Shapiro had made a video similar about this, but like everybody's somewhat in fear with Nick. And is it because his audience is growing and they feel as if he has the potential to sway them in a particular direction that isn't, I guess, get in alignment with what their beliefs are? Like what is that behind like Nick Fuentes just being this thing that damn near people are afraid of, and they feel like he's the topic of discussion so often?
So repeat the actual question one more time. I just want to make sure that I'm clear.
Yeah. So like what is the fear with having Nick Fuentes have momentum? Like why is that such a topic of discussion for so many outside of just Tucker? I've just a lot of videos that we've played or I've seen on Twitter. It's just always the topic of, well, Nick Fuentes and his platform and et cetera, et cetera. Like, why do they not feel like he has a metronome to a particular audience? And why is that audience perspective or angle not important to them?
Well, one is clearly is important to them, and they understand what Nick Fuentes represents, in my opinion. Like they understand exactly what Nick Fuentes represents, and them being able to have these conversations directly to Nick Fuentes, it allows them to speak to everybody else through the Nick Fuentes vehicle. It allows them to speak to everybody else in a way to try to discourage or downplay or fear people into not having his same views. That's why they have to villainize him. That's why they have to create all this other stuff around him. Like, oh, if you like Nick Fuentes, that means you also think Hitler's cool. You also remember Stalin's birthday. You also do all these things that perhaps a lot of people do feel the same way, but they're trying to make you feel bad about your feelings before you fully formulate them in a lot of ways. And this is just, you know, my opinion on this stuff. They know exactly what Nick Fuentes represents. He represents the people. Right. He represents the majority of Americans when it comes to a lot of these views. A majority of Americans. If this many people are supporting Nick Fuentes openly and out front, imagine the people that feel the same way that he feels behind the scenes when they don't want to voice their opinion. We have these conversations all the time talking about how people are sheep. They're scared to speak out. They're scared to do this. When people like Nick Fuentes get this big, they represent a lot of the people. It's no different than Andrew Tate and a lot of these other people. They'll try to make it seem like, oh, he's just an incel. He's just this. He's just that. He represents what a lot of people feel. And it's actually a more dangerous message to the establishment on both sides, because he doesn't make it about what Megyn Kelly makes it about. Oh, this is about us conservatives. This is about it. Nick Fuentes says all the time, like, yo, I don't play for any team. Like, I don't wear the jersey. Like, I didn't get a contract. I represent what makes sense. I do the research and I formulate an opinion based on what I think is best. I don't formulate the opinion based on who I need to align myself with. So he can't be controlled. So it's not only the power that he has, it's not only the people that he represents and that influence, but it's the fact that they can't control him. That's what makes him so feared, in my opinion. They can't control him.
Okay, I saw that critical left the chat because we were speaking about Nick.
Nah, finish. I don't know about that.
Well, so what's your take on it?
As far as with identity politics, I think it's the same thing as, when I hear Nick Fuentes speak, and maybe I should play the video first. Let me play this video. The only thing is this is like an 11-minute video. I want to play the shorter clip, but I don't know. We'll start off here. Hopefully they'll just, we can play a minute and you guys will get the feel.
He does this big monologue. And anyway, Tucker goes on All In this weekend, and it's so telling. He does this big monologue and says that white identity politics is evil. He finally says it. And by the way, I have been warning you about this for years. For years. When Tucker Carlson was talking about white grievance politics, I would always go back to, yes, Tucker will acknowledge the grievances of the white man, but what is his solution?
Yeah, let me address the corniness. You put it on the chat. This is corny, Critical. This is corny.
This is the behavior.
And I had a lot of conversations in the last 24 hours about, don't get too involved with the chat, don't get too involved with the responses. And I'm like, we use a lot of the comments to get feedback on and to elaborate on the topics that we're discussing. This is what you call corny. When grown-ups over 50 years old can't come together and have a conversation about somebody that represents the views of a lot of Americans, there is a problem there. If you have an opinion against it, then voice your opinion against it. Be an adult, be mature. This is why I was trying to not even avoid, I was trying to avoid where this was going, because it just is so childish. This is why we have the type of male leadership that we have, and we end up in the position that we're in right now. This is what was going to say that, not going to say that. Let's get back to the video.
Because he has repeatedly said for years that white identity politics is evil. Repeatedly. He has said adamantly that he is ideologically opposed to all identity politics. He says it frequently, explicitly, clearly. He says, I believe in universal principles. I believe in a colorblind meritocracy. I think that mass migration and replacement migration has nothing to do with race. It has to do with voting rights. He says that the problem in the country is not racial. It is ideological. It is cultural. It's anything other than that. And he has said that when somebody comes forward and supports white identity and says, I'm the white man, vote for me, Tucker said, I'm going to say F you because that's Nazism and that's evil.
A lot of different things can be true in these conversations. And let me ask you this, BK. Do you think that Nick is wrong? Like, let's actually walk through it. Are white people, are other people outpacing white people when it comes to birth rates? I believe that the answer, I don't have the research in front of me, but based on what a lot of people say, I would say that that's true. This to me is the main reason why the conservatives actually, this is what I always think, that's why they don't want abortion. I think that's one of the main reasons. Yeah, it could be for the moral reasons, but I think strategically for a lot of these people that, saying that they do anything for moral reasons is kind of wild at this point. It's all just strategy to gain influence. But I think a lot of the people, the politicians at least, maybe not the people that vote for it, these people just wanted, abortions, an abortion ban because they look at the numbers of their babies and you look at it and say like, oh, damn. Here we were the overwhelming majority in this country, 100, 150 years ago? Mm-hmm. And now we're getting ready to be the minority. Would you, as a leader of a country, would you feel some type of way if you were, or you don't have to be white, but does Nick have a point when he says that he feels some type of way and that he wants to address this quote unquote issue?
Does he have a point? Not my opinion on the point. Is that a point stated? Correct.
Yeah. Like, do you understand what he's saying? Like, do you feel him when he says like, yo, we need to take back control of our country. This country that we created, it's no longer the culture that it was when we were here, and just specifically down to our numbers. Like, if we live in a quote unquote, I guess, democratic republic, or I don't know how you would describe it. But when you lose the numbers, then you lose the representation. And perhaps that's a reason why you got to have lobbying and the money in politics, because when people lose numbers, they still want to be able to stay in control, stay in power.
Okay.
I would assume, wouldn't that be what anybody wants to, any government?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He's got a point.
So, and when he says the same thing about, white identity or white nationalism, white Christian nationalism, I always say it sounds just like I'm listening to a Malcolm X speech. Now, they can be doing the things for different reasons. Now, we can get into it and say, well, Malcolm X was speaking up because he wanted to protect an oppressed class of Black people in America. Okay, cool. That could be your reason. They're still saying the very same things. They're still saying, Nick Fuentes said white people need to get stronger. White people need to unite. White people need to get back to our values. When he told Piers Morgan that they're going back to the Stone Age, what I got from that is that they're going back to the principles, the biblical principles. They're going back to all this tradition. That's, when he says all these things, getting the power back to the white people, do you disagree with him? If you had a country, would you feel the same way?
No.
So this is see, and this is why my opinion on it, like, I try not to have an opinion on it of whether I think it's right or wrong. Nick Fuentes is 100% right when it comes to, as far as if white people do unite, if white people take more of a view that a lot of other people have taken that only work with a particular group of people, let's say Jewish people. That's one of the groups that we talk about the most. Now, let's say for this conversation, we're going to look specifically at Jewish people and not include them in white people. What are some of the things that they do in their community? It's a lot of the things that Indian groups do. Some of the things that we see with Chinese families that come over here, what they do. A lot of African countries, when they come over here, they look out for their group of people and they prioritize their group of people. The money circulates within their community. They don't have the mindset of, oh no, I'm going to put this out to the American economy. They focus on their economy. Now, does that make white people evil for wanting to do the same thing? I don't know. I guess that's the question.
But
I don't think so. But
when Nick is talking about these specific perspectives and angles, I'm assuming he's talking to white people, correct?
Yes.
And so where are the white people? What is their current state that has him feeling the need to say this, or where do they stand now? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where are they?
Well, that's the cultural stuff that's going on right now. When you have a country that was founded on supposedly Christian values, but now you have people running around saying, no, it was founded on Judeo-Christian values. And you look at the influence that Israel and a lot of the Jewish wealthy folk in America have on a lot of our politicians. You look at it from a religious standpoint. Then you look at it from a number standpoint. The numbers are actually dwindling. When you let in 10 million people that are not white, what does that do to the power structure of white people in America? They look at that as diminishing, right? Mm-hmm. When you look at the birth rates compared to a lot of these other groups, the birth rates are lower. So when you look at a certain when you project that out to 2030, 2040, 2050, I forget what the actual year is, eventually white people are going to be the minority. And minorities that are not united, like let's say like a Jewish group or other groups, when you have a minority that's not united, that's not, structured and purposeful and intentional in the way that they move and seeking to have power, then you're going to become a weaker group. Other people are going to become stronger. And a lot of I've seen videos on a lot of these, matter of fact, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying Abu Ham kind of hit it on the head, what I was thinking, but you guys both explained it. Like half of the white people are liberals though. So the white people he's talking about are already the minority. So he's speaking to white people that are not maybe in alignment with where Nick stands is who he's speaking to. Does that make sense? Like, it's like, I'm thinking like
fear mongering. He's trying to sell. He has a product that he's trying to sell.
Mm-hmm.
The minority majority, it's just, those are just descriptions. You know what I mean? It's just a power play. White people are losing power in America. It's as simple as that.
But there's a group of white people that are okay with that.
I think that there's when you talk about like when he's talking about the liberals.
Yeah, like he's clearly talking to other. He's not talking to black folks. I would think he's talking to other white people who must be okay with the direction of either where it's at or where it may potentially go. And he's trying to recruit, because I saw Robert say, you know, he speaks for a lot of people and how they feel. So I'm like, okay, how they feel must be separate from another class of white people that may not give a fuck about all the shit that Nick is saying. And this is how we got here to begin with.
I think that there's people that do certain things for their own personal interest. And then there's other people like Nick may be looking out for just white people. A lot of people may just be looking out for their family, just like a lot of black people. Every black person I ain't doing this shit for all black people. Like, I'm doing it for my family. Like, I don't know, like, I'm not with all that. You know what I mean? There's people that do things for different reasons, but personal interest, you're always going to be able to, in my opinion, dangle something that somebody benefits from on a personal level and have them entertain it. So I think when the things that Nick Fuentes speaks out about, I think that that's white people overall. I think that he's talking about a lot of Democrats as well, or a lot of people that perhaps have lost faith in the Democratic Party. You know, a lot of people that may not, you know, the Democratic Party, even the Republican Party, there's a large spectrum of voters. And as radical as the parties continue to get more and more radical, let's say with the things that they're supporting, then there's a whole lot of people that, for every reason that I said that led me in the direction away from the Democrats and to Donald Trump, there's a whole lot of Democrats that voted for Joe Biden, voted for Kamala Harris, that disagree with all those things that I just named. But it's just such a wide spectrum of who falls on that, of where you fall on that list. But I think Nick Fuentes is using a lot of the tactics that a lot of other leaders have used. He's fear-mongering.
So when you get somebody like, let's use Critical, for example, like,
yeah,
what is the irritation? Like, I'm assuming Critical is white, an older white guy, correct?
I believe Critical's somewhere in his 50s, old white guy.
Yeah, so he's an older white male, and so it's like he's not feeling Nick. So I'm like, that's where I was trying to see, okay, if this is the Nick's audience and this is where their point of view is, what you're saying, like, oh, they want to preserve white people, stuff like that. I'm like, I mean, cool, like, go off,
I get
in your bag. But why is there a Critical then? Like, why would Critical not?
How many times have I asked Critical to explain the issues that he actually has with Nick Fuentes?
Oh, you don't know.
And every time he's like, I put it in the Discord. I'm like, bro, you're talking about it on the show right now. Explain it. Like, I'm not about to go do a 2-hour deep dive and trying to figure out, just tell me what you don't like about Nick. Like, tell me the thing. You brought up a great point. I don't know what everybody doesn't like about him.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I think that there's a whole lot of Democrats that probably are more so the group that tends to stay on that moral high ground. You know what I mean? And I think that there's a lot of people those people support Nick Fuentes as well, because keep in mind, Nick Fuentes, he's liberal in a lot of ways. Nick Fuentes is a moderate on a lot of these topics. Like, this is the person that's calling out Israel and the genocide that they're committing against Palestine. This is the person that said that he would work with a lot of these populist people on even some of the social programs. Nick Fuentes has been cool with even a lot of the social programs. Nick Fuentes' main thing, and from my standpoint, is that he wants them for Americans. And he'll double down at times like this and say, well, it's for white Americans. You know, our country was founded on white America. I think Nick Fuentes looks around like a lot of people look around and see the direction of the country, and see the power going to other groups rather than to white Americans. And I think this is where a lot of animosity between white people and Jewish people shows up. Because, matter of fact, I'll show you a video clip of this. I wasn't even going to play this, and excuse me, because there is a bit of cursing. But I think this brother sums it up correctly, or I don't know about correctly, but I think he has an interesting perspective, and I guess we can determine where we stand on it from here. But take a look at this video.
From Kentucky.
Jews act white.
So a lot of people are seeing this video going around with this House of Representative woman from Kentucky, Sarah Stalker, talking about I think I actually don't feel good about being white every single fucking day. I think white children need to know that they have privilege and they should feel bad about it. Come to find out that this bitch ain't even really white. She's a fucking Jew. And this is the shit that makes Jews dangerous. Because what they'll fucking do is they will shapeshift into a white person, push anti-white agendas to all the other races, by the way, black people, Latinos, Asians. Oh, look, being white is bad. We have all this privilege, yada, yada, yada. This makes the other races be like, oh yeah, fuck white people. We hate white people. We want to see bad shit happen to them. Come to find out that this bitch ain't even really white. Because when the going actually gets tough for white people, she'll be like, oh wait, I'm actually a Jew, guys. I'm with y'all. I'm a minority. Remember Nazi Germany? And this is how they escape any issues, right? Because you'll have guys like Ben Shapiro too. You ask Ben Shapiro, hey man, where you from, man? What race are you? You're like, oh, well, you think about it, I'm white. Some people say I'm Jewish, but I'm white. You see what they'll do? They'll do that shit because they know, oh yeah, I gotta make sure I'm white to push any agendas against white people, but then I'm also Jewish to also protect myself in the fucking homeland. And this is the shit that we're aware of now. They can't get away with this shit anymore. We see it through the fucking games.
So my thing is on it, like when I hear when he's talking, is that white Americans are very pissed off that Jewish people conveniently go back and forth, whatever makes the most sense for them. You know how mixed people, like let's say you're biracial. Oh, well, if it benefits me to be, a little bit more black in this area, then I'll put black on that application. If it benefits me to be this, I'll put that on the application. And I see that when Jewish people are using this particular tactic, they're diminishing the power of white people. They're going to other minorities. And this happened even when they're going to other minorities and they're saying like, yeah, these white people, bro, it's these white people. Like they're using their Judaism and them going through the Holocaust to relate to a lot of the other minority struggles. So by doing so, they diminish the power of the white people in America, the very people that are fighting their wars, the very people that are responsible for them even having Israel. They're diminishing their power while gaining the likability from the other groups. So that way they can kind of bounce back and forth like we've seen them do. Sometimes with certain presidents, they're super Democrat. Other times with certain presidents, they're super Republican. So a lot of people don't like the whole back and forth stance where they conveniently pick and choose what they're going to be represented as based on that situation. So that's how I see it playing out. And I see a lot of white Americans getting pissed off about this. And I think they got a point. And speaking of identity politics, think about what we're talking about. Who plays identity politics more than Israel or Jewish people? You know what I'm saying? Who plays all these identity politics? So now Nick Fuentes is saying like, whoa, why can every other race play identity politics, but it's a problem when white people do it? Why can every other group play this identity politic game, but it's a problem when white people do it? And I think that he comes across as a pissed off 27-year-old who feels very passionately about this topic, who is looking around scared, just how we look at a lot of the older generation. And we're like, yo, what were y'all doing? Like, how did y'all, like, we're in this position. We need to figure out a way out of this. Yeah, y'all may retire. Yeah, y'all may have benefited from, keeping your head down and being sheep and just falling, oh, America. Yeah, okay, cool. But now we're in a position where we're pissed off. The passion is different in a lot of younger people compared to older people, because the younger people are the ones that got to deal with all this stuff now. So the passion, in my opinion, comes across a lot different from a 27-year-old complaining about a lot of these things, looking at what the world and what America may look like 30 years from now compared to a 60-year-old, a 70-year-old. It's just different. I think there's just a different level of accountability. So, yeah, I'm not sure that fully explains it. But shout out to Robert. You want to?
What we got here? Yeah, Robert, it sounds like right on cue. America was 90% white Christian in the 20s. Now it's 40%. This is why Israel has strict rules and paid Jewish mothers to have kids.
And I'm glad he said that, because that's the whole point that a lot of white Americans are feeling. They're like, the nerve of you to call me out for talking about identity politics when look at what Israel is. You can't even get married in Israel if you're not Jewish. But it's okay for everybody else to play identity politics. And this is the whole conversation. If we really want to go there, this is what white people have created. And let me kind of elaborate on this.
I was gonna, I feel like as you're describing this and I'm formulating my thought about in my angle and perspective, but I'm like, damn, I mean, this sounds like something that this sounds like something white folks did make.
Right. So think about it. You have a country, and normally it's almost like white people created all this entitlement, all this victimhood, to where all these people that come into America feel so entitled to stuff or feel like America owes them something, and they're very confused. Like even when it comes to the conversation around reparations, like white people trying to be nice to everybody, saying like, oh, you know, we had slavery, we're not going to have slavery, you know, we're going to let people vote, we're going to, you know, have all these rules, we're going to invite people in, you know, you can come all to the country. You'll invite people in when it benefited you in a lot of ways. Yes. No different than when it comes to Silicon Valley, how they want to bring in a whole bunch of Indians because it benefits them in their business. So it benefited America for a very long time, why white people were able to still have control and power.
Right. Now they could spread the responsibility, spread the workload, like everybody could contribute as a team at that moment when we were building the infrastructure, right?
Correct. Okay. Correct. You were able to, when you're in power, you can use people to gain more power, but every bit of power that you lose, now somebody else is leveraging that power for their own individual power. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So
why they grinding, they're building their agenda, they're building their perspective, they're building their ecosystem. Although you're like controlling things or you're putting people where they want to be. It's almost like when you have a company, right? Like you put people in these positions and then so you can go handle the shit you want to handle, but then let's say you leave for a little bit or you're not always as involved, like the CEO's not always involved. Next thing you know, I pull up, you come back and like BK think he owns OG. And you're like, nigga, what? Like, what are we doing here? Like I'm running decisions, I'm running point. And you like, yo, he got his mans from high school in here now and he getting paid what? And then you just like, is it kind of like that?
It's like a company takeover. People look at it
from the inside out.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you have this, and I forget where I was going with it.
Yeah. You were explaining because I was asking you like you America benefited from these people.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So where it was beneficial to America at a certain point, you know, just like us doing all these, you know, getting rid of our factories in some ways. Oh, it benefited certain people, but long term, we see the effects of a lot of this stuff. So where these things benefited white America, allowed America to surge the way that we have, you know, a lot of the growth and a lot of the amazing things about America we wouldn't have without having a lot of different cultures come to America and us all lock in, work, build the economy, all these different things. So now you get to a certain point where it's no longer beneficial to be bringing in a lot of these people. You know, it's always going to get to that point where you think back to let's use slavery as an example. I think it's understood where if I was on a plantation, I believe that there would be a certain amount, like a ratio that people discussed where it's like, yo, for every, 40 black people, you got to have, at least, 5 white people, on that, or it could get dangerous. The dynamics get thrown off. It's like, you're talking about what's the teacher student ratio? You know what I'm saying? Because a teacher can control the classroom and have more of an impact where it starts to get out of hand at a certain point. It starts to get out of line. And I think that's what a lot of people are seeing. Like, yo, when you see Dearborn, Michigan, when you see a lot of these communities that have been essentially, when it comes to a cultural standpoint, taken over by the dominant group there. Now, it's not an issue maybe when you go to Chinatown and everything's in Chinese, the language, or you go to Little Italy, you go to all these. It's not an issue for perhaps a lot of these other cultures that white Americans don't feel threatened by. It's funny when I was riding through Chinatown.
It's Little Italy too. I don't think I even knew that.
This past weekend. Oh yeah, there's a Little Italy. It's actually a lot of people are moving out, and Chinatown, which is right next to Little Italy, seems like it's buying more of what Little Italy was, and a lot of people moving out of that part of New York. Yeah, it's a part of Manhattan. So when I'm driving through.
I have seen it.
Yeah,
it's got a lot, but I'm thinking a little Italy gonna be like a little project or type shit. No, this is like a corporate. Like, isn't it near the? Is it near the white?
No, it's not a corporate. It's just a neighborhood with a lot of Italians.
Oh, it's just neighborhood. So it is what I thought.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's just, I mean, they're all over. Like Queens is famous for this. Queens has like all different groups. They always call it the most diverse, but it's also very segregated. Like it's just pockets of different cultures. I mean, you could look at that as dope. You know what I mean? That's not necessarily a negative thing. You know what I'm saying? But you also like, and this is something that I first looked at a while ago. I should look back on it, where I noticed that a lot of Chinese people, I didn't think that they were that involved in politics. Like they're not one of those groups that always has, no, we need to stand up for Chinese. They just kind of do their thing and get to the bag and don't say much. So maybe there's not that threat there that a lot of these other groups may be threatening. When you got Ilhan Omar giving pep rallies up there, and to Trump's point, you know, the way that she may talk and the way that she may rile up a lot of Somalians, that can be seen as a problem. That can be, if you're just looking at it from a power standpoint, and the more that America leans into the cultures of the people that are coming to America, they just feel like it's just a loss of power. Mm-hmm. Who are these people now going to start voting for? Who are these people now going to start like creating a culture around their values, not American values? American values will fade out. And it's no different than when it comes to even Nick Fuentes talking about having white kids, bro. Like you look at in 2 generations, you can have, think about this. If a white person has sex with a black person and they have a baby, right? They have a baby. That first baby can come out looking all different type of ways, right? It could look more like the white mama or the white daddy, or it could look more like the black mama or black daddy. Let's say that baby then has sex with a black person, and now they have a baby. In like just 2 generations, bro, you can completely cut off your white lineage. Simply by marrying or simply by having a baby with somebody that's not your race. White people fear this, bro.
But here's my question for that is, I understand that the explanation you gave makes it very clear, because obviously it almost like it dilutes itself out, right? But is it important to white folks? Like, why don't they just get that shit under wraps then? Like, the Jewish community does it. Like we talking about, the Asian community does it. Hispanic community does it. Indian community does it. Like, why are we like, are they just waking up to what are they just now getting pride about these things? Or like, is that making sense? Like, where was all this energy when this has been transpiring?
I think
that's an agenda today in 2025, while we're saying, but the Asians have completely just mastered this strategy, and they walk in, they have these structures that allow these things to kind of keep their culture alive. But did white folks just let people in the door and they just wasn't tripping because there was a focus someplace else, and then now they're like, oh shit, we let too many motherfuckers in the door, now we got to get this shit straight, so let's get somebody like Fuentes to turn this bitch up so we can rally the troops, because now we thought what it was at the beginning and now switching up. Like, where did they miss the signals to get here and now be like, oh damn, look what's going on to us?
I don't know what signals were missed. I think that people just make certain decisions where they kick the can down the road, or make a decision that they know is not honorable or in their particular group's favor, but it may favor them from a selfish standpoint.
For them.
Okay. Or they may, if I go against Donald Trump on this vote, then I'm going to, be the person that everybody's bashing, even though Donald Trump's supposed to be for America first, but he's voting for things or doing certain things that are prioritizing Israel.
The pressure.
So I think that people make the decisions for different reasons. But this to me, like, this is not Asia. You know what I mean? Like, this is not China. So therefore, and like a Chinese person can come in under the radar, not worry about power because they can just figure out the system for themselves. It's not China. And this is what a lot of white Americans feel like. I think Nick Fuentes, he even said it. He's like, yo, all these Jewish people that come here and are controlling America, they have a home where they can go to when stuff hits the fan. You have somewhere that you can go back to. Where do white Americans go? This is the white American's home. The Jewish home is in Israel. You get what I'm saying?
I guess I do get what you're saying. I'm still at a standstill. Like, but this is what they did.
This is the same thing that you could say that the same thing that a lot of people could say about black people. This is what you did. No, that's what my parents did. That's what my grandparents did. That's what my uncles did.
You're saying this younger generation is not trying to continue
because they no longer benefit.
The older generation.
They no longer benefit from it. The same way they used to tell us, "Oh, go to college. Go this." Yeah, our parents' generation benefited tremendously from college. It held a lot more weight than it holds for us. So we're not interested in that. We're not interested in falling for the same products that our parents fell for because those products don't have the value that they had for our parents that they had for us. So you can look at, oh, well, why did this happen? Why did this happen? Well, like most things happen. Generations before, what a generation allows to go unchecked, no different than a team. When we're playing in a football game, if we make a mistake in game one, and that mistake is never corrected, we can be damn well that mistake is going to come up in one of the most critical moments of the season, 8 games down the road, because it never got addressed. Everybody just kicks the can down the road. So for a lot of these issues, they never got addressed. And this is always going to be a power struggle, in my opinion. Hold on. We got a super chat. Shout out to Robert coming through.
What's up, Robert? Chat. Appreciate that, man, for sure.
Okay, so Robert said where Nick is wrong about it is he doesn't realize how the taxation, inflation, and housing has slowed the birth rate of Americans regardless of race. So we need to import more people. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't think that I agree with that. I think that kind of highlights more of the problem, Robert. Like if you're saying that because of these things like taxation, inflation, and housing, pretty much just saying that because America has gotten so damn expensive, we can't concentrate on having kids and making families. Okay. That's what Robert's saying. So what you're saying is based on that, we need to import more people. I think that's the opposite of what needs to be done. Like that's not solving the problem. That's making Americans who are here have even less power when you go elsewhere. When you go outside, it's like investing externally. Are you investing in another group or are you investing in your own self or your own business? That's how I look at it. No, invest in your own business, and you can invest in other people's business, but you can't invest in that business and expect your business to gain value. It just doesn't work like that.
Oh, I got 2 questions for that, and it kind of spins off of that. What was the benefit that we were talking about earlier? And I want to have it clear in my head, but what was the benefit earlier? Oh, also, is my mic working?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, actually it's not, but it sounds great, but that's not that mic. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll get back to it. But what was the benefit for America to have these?
Say it again because it cut to the mic. So it says, what was the benefit of America?
Hello? Testing. I'm good.
You're good.
Okay. What was the benefit for America at one point in time to import all these people? Kind of sounds like what Robert was saying, like the reason he's saying like we need to import more people. What was America's benefit previously to wanting so many imports? Like where did America benefit at that point in time for having so many different cultures just drive here?
It was a cheap value exchange. Like they benefited from the exchange in value. Let me give let's say you start a company. You start a company and you hire all these people. Initially, when you start the company, you own 100% of it. But you hire all these people and in their contracts, you promise them that if they work at the company for such years, 15 years, after 15 years, they get a percentage of the company, right? So now you keep promising that to all these people. Initially in year 1, you still own 100% of the company. But now all these people that you hired, they're approaching year 13, 14, 15, 20, 21, 20. So now they are increasing their ownership in the company. So by them increasing their ownership in the company, clearly you're decreasing your ownership. Mm-hmm. So where the value was beneficial at the beginning because I had to offer them some type of share program because I didn't have the money to give to them directly right then and there.
So they was using credit from day one. Correct. They was using credit.
Correct.
So now they're in debt and they can't pay the credit card off.
That's what politics is. I'm going to give you this donation. I'm gonna give it to you now. You can use it for whatever you want, but you got to eventually start paying interest. You got to pay it back and interest. You know what I'm saying? It's no different. What do we think that when Donald Trump's making all these decisions that he's making that clearly don't put Americans first, he's paying back. Like he got to pay back what he owed.
And that may not be always in alignment with America first.
Correct. Because just because something's good for a corporation, I'm looking at Robert's point, the corporations need to import. You're 100%, but that doesn't mean that that's what's good for America. The corporations need to import. Why? There's plenty of people there's plenty of people that they could hire at a lot of these companies. Even though Donald Trump will sit there in that interview and say America doesn't have the talent, that's BS. You could teach people anything. Teach people anything. Now, is it going to cost the company more money to do the training?
That's
is
what
it going to cost the company, maybe in a for a few years, their profit margin? Yes, it's going to cost these companies money. And when you look at it, these are the same companies that are giving Donald Trump money. So if these companies are donating to Donald Trump now feels like he has to pay that company back. These companies are leveraging what they have in their favor to get done whatever it is that they want on their agenda. If the leverage that they have is money, they'll throw money at it because they're going to have to spend the money one way or another. I'd rather spend the money on Trump and me be able to not have any lag in my business and just be able to import all these people that already know what's going on, that already speak the language, rather than me have a lag in my business, not support Trump, and end up having to pay all of these Americans that money.
Okay. So it puts now into kind of perspective when that's what was the purpose of hiking up the taxes that he was trying to do in office this year, right? What was it? Was it embargo when it's a tax incoming?
The tariffs.
My bad. The tariffs. That was kind of like his Band-Aid on a bigger issue.
I thought that the tariffs was actually.
It sounds like a good idea.
I didn't think that was a Band-Aid. I thought that was actually. And this is something, it's so funny with the tariffs. This is something that Nancy Pelosi, Bernie Sanders, like politicians on both sides of the aisle have spoken out against. And it's very simple. We just import more than we export. We buy more than we sell. So any company, any business, any corporation, any country, that's going to be an issue. So we compromised us having factories for so long in America just for having cheap labor and getting stuff done cheaply. Right. So so a lot of people just made deals kicking the can down the road. And here Donald Trump was saying, like, no, in order to incentivize companies to come to America and open up your factories, I'm going to charge you a lot of tariffs if you're importing stuff. But I'll give you a break if you bring your factory to America, hire American workers, and feed the American economy.
Sounds like a great idea.
It was. I mean,
but I haven't heard good feedback from this
because it's one of those things that's going to impact the economy perhaps in a negative way initially. It's not going to increase the prices because why do we import? Because a lot of these other countries, they don't have the same rules and laws that we have when it comes to labor. They don't have a minimum wage in a lot of these countries, perhaps. You know what I'm saying? So their products are being made for much cheaper. So now if you piss them off or charge them more, they could potentially say, hey, we want to keep our same profit margin. So to make sure we keep our same profit margin, if you're charging us more, we're going to have to increase our price of our product.
That's their response to the tariffs.
So people that support the tariffs would say, okay, now that you're increasing your profits, now your profit of your product can now compete with American products because American products had to be sold at a higher price. Now it's like, okay, yeah, let's do that because now it's going to be, you'll be seen at the same level as the American products. So
okay, but a lot of this looks like testing the waters. Like cats don't really know the plan. But
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but before it sounds like, I mean, I just think it's wild for those. I mean, I remember us being in econ class in college and understanding that simple math of like, oh, okay, well, just you can put tariffs, like all this stuff. So it's just like Trump is the first person to think about how to combat everything being made in every place else. Like y'all just got to, maybe we should put tariffs on that to incentivize companies to come over here.
You got 4 years in office. Right?
Okay.
You got 4 years in office.
You're sharp, man. You quick with this stuff.
Well, this is just the stuff just based on conversation. So if you have 4 years in office, that's a very short period. Your last year, you're pretty much just, running an election for whoever's next.
Right.
So you're going to get judged on. It's almost like a high school athlete. You don't have senior year. If you're not already on the spotlight by your junior year, you kind of off the radar.
Yeah, you got to be on the radar junior year.
It's the same thing with this. So Trump's going to put these tariffs that everybody may agree on, but it may be a long-term play. So let's say that Donald Trump puts the tariffs on. And in the short period, the short term, what's going to end up happening? A lot of people complaining, especially when Donald Trump said he's going to lower the prices. If he wasn't talking that, then maybe he would be in a better position. But him saying that he's going to lower prices, but then putting tariffs out there where he can't control that. Now, what I would have suggested with the tariffs is you use that as a rallying cry for Americans to get back to made in America, or to get back to certain companies that would say, you know what, we absorb all tariff costs. As a company, that's what I would do. I'm not an American company, but we support our relationship and appreciate our relationship with American consumers as we buy a whole bunch of stuff in America. You know what I mean? So what I would have suggested for a lot of these companies is say, we will absorb, like put together like a little pin or a certification, like, hey, we absorb all tariff costs. We do not push those tariff costs along to our customers. That would have been something dope. But Trump's mindset is like, damn, these people want lower prices right now, largely because he tried to sell people on that. So now when you have this initial like phase of tariffs where there may be some rough patches where maybe some companies do, raise their prices. Maybe, we're having some lags where, okay, we're no longer working with that company anymore. The American people are going to be upset, and it's going to be a hit on the economy. So now when your record comes out of what you did in your first 3 years, your first 2 years, now you're looking bad to the people, and that's going to be a stain on your legacy. And obviously for a lot of these politicians that have egos and whatnot, they don't want that stain on their legacy. So what do? They just kick the can down the road to keep their numbers that they believe that they're being judged on in a very favorable way, rather than being the person that's thinking about how we may look at this 100 years from now, 50 years from now, and say, hey, this person did a significant job in improving our economy, even though in their presidency, they didn't see the benefits of it. They were never rewarded for it. The next president that came in, or the two presidents from now, those were the ones where we started to see the results. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that. So that's why everything's more short term.
Gotcha. So it's almost like I remember Obamacare came out and then they were so excited to dismantle that. Is that kind of like an example of somebody having a short window to do whatever they feel like is in the best interest of the American people, and then somebody else either makes a decision to keep it or can it?
I don't know when it comes to Obamacare.
Okay.
I don't know, and I don't think that most people really understand the ins and outs of Obamacare, and that's why you call it something like Obamacare. So people that like Obama will just get behind it, and then you just support it. Mm-hmm. I don't think that the majority of Americans can explain. Like, I'm in healthcare, and I still don't 100% know. Like, yo, what's the basis of Obamacare? Mm-hmm. What are the? I can tell you maybe a couple pros. I can tell you a couple cons based on stories that I've heard. Mm-hmm. But the overall impact that I would say, even, when I look at my story, when I'm looking at a few of the doctors that I know speaking on it, a lot of people believed in it, and a lot of these doctors spoke out for it, but then they realized the impact, or they're realizing now the impacts of Obamacare. And when was Obama in office? When did these things get put out? Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So this is another example. Obama was celebrated for this. He was held in high regards for this. Oh my God, all these people that didn't have access to healthcare previously, now they have access to healthcare. And you heard all these stories that made us look at it that already aligned with Obama being the nice guy. You know what I'm saying? So we just believed it. But nobody knows nobody really knows unless you're somebody that has had a situation where you needed to rely on it, and your experience with it brought you in a positive direction or probably in a negative direction, but you're probably not straddling the fence. You had that experience of directly relating to it.
Okay. So it sounds like we're playing cleanup. To sum it all up, it sounds like we're playing a lot of cleanup culturally, corporation wise, in a lot of other areas, immigration wise, that we're trying to, I won't say clean up, but there was one point in time where the infrastructure was acceptable for what America's direction was at that point in time. Now that we fast forward into 2025, it seems as if there's a huge significant group of individuals, Americans, white Americans specifically, that feel as if we need to make some certain changes, or what we thought that was good at one point in time will actually be our demise in the future. And we're seeing that, and we're wanting to change that. Is that safe to say?
Say it one more time. Say that. Yeah, I just want to make sure before I agree or disagree.
So what the decisions in the initiative back in, let's just say, early American days was one focus, and those same strategies and angles and perspectives and what the initiative was back then can also be what hinders white America now. And so now what we see is people like Fuentes, et cetera, wanting to take hold of, yes, these things might have been good at a point in time, DEI or things like that. Now these are actually hindering us from allowing us to be what we need to do. So DEI was in good faith, but look what it has done type of situation. Is it safe to say that's kind of what Nick Fuentes represents?
I agree with what you're saying. I'm not sure that that's what Nick Fuentes' stance on. I'm sure that he would align with the things that you're saying. I'm not sure that that's like, I'm not sure, but based on me thinking I don't know if he thinks in his mind that DEI was intended with, it had a good intent. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean?
Not specifically DEI, but like the whole concept of DEI was probably made in good faith at the point in time, but now we see that it can impact the community or a society negatively. So the focus and direction of America at early stage America cannot be what keeps America sustainable long term. So we're wanting to cut a lot of relationships, policies, things now, because now those things can affect us negatively, as we see. Immigration is at overhauling in, people are coming in, they're diluting America's foundation, et cetera, et cetera. And now those things that we once loved so much about what America stood for, actually we're noticing, oh shit, this thing is moving a little bit out of control. We might need to tailor some of this shit because this ain't ideally where we want to be.
Yeah, I think that that's what's happening. Okay. Regardless of what Nick feels, like, I think that that's what's happening with a lot of people. And oh man, I was just about to bring up a point. But yeah, so I also want to make clear, like, when it comes to this identity politics, even though I agree with what Nick is, like, his, I guess, I don't know if it's the premise of his argument, or I agree from a strategic standpoint that this will work. And I can understand how he's feeling as a white person who's 27 years old, seeing the direction of this country. We saw Robert said that there was 95% white or 90% white in 1920.
No, 40 and now 40% or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's like, what I'm saying is I can understand why he's scared. I can understand that. However, what I probably didn't elaborate on, which I'm glad that we circled back to this, is that I don't agree with identity politics. Like, I don't agree with when Nick Fuentes says it, even though I understand exactly why Malcolm X was saying it, I don't agree that it works as a long-term solution. I don't think so. So for me, when I hear the identity politics, and I've been one of these people that has said, yeah, like, as black people, like, yo, we're doing the worst. We got to come together. We got to just, look out for black people. This is what all these other cultures are doing. This is, look at what Jewish people are doing. Look at what Indian people are doing. Look at what this group is doing. I can understand from a strategic standpoint that works. However, I just ultimately think that it's always going to lead to a tribalism mindset, and that the negatives and cons are ultimately going to outweigh the pros of that. I think we're always going to be in this system of, well, we got to look out for me and mines, rather than just looking out for people on a more, how can I say, like zooming out a bit, not being as specific with identity as far as race, but maybe just zooming out. And obviously the ultimate zoom out is to just say humanity. But when it comes to just America, us just being decent beings just for Americans, like, we live in America, There's a lot of different cultures. It's very diverse. I just think that if we get caught up in this mindset where every group that's not doing well or feels that the country is not benefiting them as it should, or whatever they feel it should be doing, I should say, they're always going to now start, oh, now I got to look out for mine. Like, this is just going to be a circular thing where it's just, okay, which group is now feeling like they're getting taken advantage of, feels like they're losing leverage and power. Okay, now they're going to be the group that's pushing all these nationalist mindsets and strategies. I just don't think that it works. But we just may have different goals. Nick and I don't have the same goals. So when I hear him say something, I can agree that based on his goal, hey, that would work. I may not agree with the morals around it, may not agree with the principles around it, but we have different goals. My goal is not the same as Nick's.
Yeah.
Nick's fear in a lot of ways determine what his goals are. I don't have those same fears. Obviously, I'm not a 27-year-old white man. So therefore, it's just different. It's just different.
Gotcha.
And this is the point, because when you have this type of mindset, everybody more so just focuses on the things that their group is feeling. So there's never a sense of empathy and understanding for people that are not in your particular tribe. So what I may be pushing for may be far-fetched to a lot of people, not realistic. I would understand. I totally agree with that. Like, it is far-fetched, but that, to me, that just aligns with where I want to go. You know, that's the elevation that I want to see. That's what I want to lean into. So even if I fail at my goal, I'm not just going to accept and pursue something else just because I don't think that the goal that I'm pursuing is likely to happen.
Gotcha. And tell me this. So when you say that you rocking with Nick Fuentes, it's because you understand his point of view per se in how it puts America first, or like even just being, we obviously Black people, right? So like when he's saying this, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like the white guys are becoming the minority, et cetera. What's your position on what Nick is saying when it is focused on making the white people not become the minority? Your perspective is more or less like, I understand his point of view, is what you're trying to say, or you align with his point of view, or, you know, like, is that making sense? Probably not.
I think I get what you're saying. Let me add, you're saying, like, if I say that I understand what Nick is saying, am I pushing for the same thing? Like,
I think that could get us.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. We have different goals.
Okay.
So I can, like, my goal is not just focused on Black people. His goal is focused on just white people.
White people. Okay.
But I can understand why that would be his goal, because I've been in a position in life where my goal has just been focused on Black people. I didn't like that for me. You know, that for me, just to each their own, that just didn't align with the person that I wanted to be. It just didn't align with the goals that I'm pursuing right now. You know what I'm saying?
Focused on Black people.
Yeah, but it would be very fake and phony of me to sit here and act as if I don't understand what Nick Fuentes is saying, especially as somebody who was pushing the same thing when it came to Black people. Now, I may look at mine and say, well, Nick, white people never had slavery. White people never had this. And it can always go back to that conversation where we're in the victimhood Olympics, like trying to see who's justified in being a big enough victim to where you can make statements like, hey, I'm only looking out for me and mine. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm just not in that space. I don't see the world that way. But I'm not stupid.
You did? You'd say?
I did 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I was pushing, like, living it. It was very clear to me. And this is why I always will show somewhat of love, you know, when it comes to Dr. Umar and Tariq Nasheed, because I did learn a lot of history through through this mindset. You know what I mean? That I was not taught. However, my push for me is just not for Black people, bro. Like, I just think my calling is a little bit different. But I'm not. But I've been down that road where it's like, okay, you see certain things are happening. You see certain things presented in the media. You see all this propaganda that's being put up that wants to convince all Black people to hate conservatives, to be aligned with Democrats. They do an excellent job marketing a lot of this stuff, to where you can feed into it based on certain personal experiences that you may go through. And now you start seeing the world through this particular lens because you got your people that have been telling you this. You're learning more about your history. At the same time that you're learning your history, you're getting pissed off at these people for lying to you about your history, for introducing this religion to you, for doing all these things. So now I'm developing a certain amount of resentment for certain people. You get what I'm saying? I'm developing resentment towards white people. Let me be specific. Based on who controls the system, who controls the country. Just like Nick Fuentes said, this country was founded on white Christian principles. So who am I going to direct my anger to? The white Christians. That's what I ended up doing. So for a lot of these things that I was interested at the time, I was directing my anger there and just focusing on one particular group of people. But my goal is just different now. My goal is just different. I didn't like that I didn't like who I was pushing that particular message compared to the message that I push now, because ultimately you're just always going to be in this war. It's always going to be a tribal war. Like it's always going to be a tribal war when you look at it this way, in my opinion.
You know what? I find that because, you know, now that I recall back, like I do remember you being young and turned, and I don't think I ever paid attention because you weren't wrong then. You know, you weren't wrong to feel the way that you feel.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think Nick is wrong. Right? You know what I mean? I didn't feel that, even looking back, that it was wrong. I'm just in a different place.
Yeah, you weren't wrong then, and you're not wrong now. So it's like you've never really been wrong, no matter what side of the fence you end up standing on. But it is interesting I do remember you being, now that I forgot all about that. You used to be super turned.
Yeah.
Like, F y'all. And like, I remember getting texts from white boys that like, yo, what's up with Dak? Like, I don't think he like me no more. And I used to be, and I'd be like, nah, I mean, like it's going to be what it's going to be. But now now it's full circle. I forgot that you used to be outside you was spinning back then.
Yeah, like just louder than I talk now. Like
that's so interesting. You did used to spin about that stuff, but even hearing you now, like, what the fuck? This is polar opposite.
Yeah, I remember. It's funny that you say this. I was thinking about this earlier. So one of the things, like going back to 2016 or 2015 when Trump was running, like I couldn't stand him. I was saying like, yo, this whole country racist. Like people don't care about and to be fair, I don't think that the country is much different. The country, most people are racist. Like when Nick went on Pierce and said most people are racist, yeah, most people look out for themselves. When you call it tribalist, you call it whatever you want. We just happen to be divided mostly on race. Like that's just the most obvious distinction. So I do think that just the same thing that I was saying it before, I think that it stands true now. I just have a different approach perhaps of addressing it. So when I look back to 2015 and Donald Trump's running and all these white people supporting him, I'm like, damn, like these people don't give a damn about the character of a person. Like you could get away with it, like all these different things, right? Like I fell into I was a part of that narrative. You called me or sent me a text while I was going over the Tappan Zee Bridge, and I was going from what's that, Rockland County to Westchester in New York, and Donald Trump just beat Hillary Clinton, and I remember the exact show that I was listening to. It's either Bill Lehrer or Dan Lehrer. It's the show that my dad watches on PBS, or I forget, the public broadcasting, whatever. It's either Bill Lehrer or Dan Lehrer. I always forget the name, but I was listening to that show, and that show was talking about how Hillary Clinton lost the election because a lot of people that typically voted for Democrats no longer decided to vote for them. So I was feeling like the decision that I made was the right decision, because even though I didn't like Trump, I couldn't stand the Democratic Party either. So I remember you texted me and said, damn, bro, like all this stuff that you've been posting, like it really just hit me based on Donald Trump winning this election. You texted me that. I don't even know if you remember that.
I remember that.
And it was
And I hadn't talked to you in a while.
Yeah. You texted me out of the blue saying that. And it was just one of those things where I don't know if it was like a validation thing, but all of this stuff it's very just like, it almost, do you want to be right or do you want to accomplish the goal of bringing people together?
That's been your journey.
Yeah, like, because I don't think that Nick Fuentes is wrong. I don't think that I was necessarily wrong, but it just doesn't align with where I want us to go and where I think that we'd all be better off, which is, let's just not focus on the whole tribal. Let's make it more about the individual. Let's embrace more of these cultures that we don't know a lot about, rather than, being fearful of them. And because the fear on one side is going to create, so it's like now it's like when you become fearful of somebody having too much influence, what do you typically do? You do certain things to take away from their influence and to give yourself more power.
Kind of like a shorty do walk in the building. You got your girl with you. She's choosing a little bit. You start discrediting motherfucker who walked in the room.
Right. You start talking like, yo, that person ain't here.
Yeah. Like I'm up. Like he ain't, look at him. He's so like, kind of like subliminally shooting shots in order to like subconsciously have her not choosing up on the new nigga.
Right.
Gotcha.
So naturally, and even in, I just want to make sure I'm explaining it correctly. So naturally, when you give up a certain amount of power that you're trying to get back, now the person that you're trying to get it back from, even if they never had it, it doesn't even matter. They feel that you're trying to take something from them. So now when you try to take something from them, what's the natural response? Now they want to feel like, nah, I need to get back. Matter of fact, not only do I need to get what you're trying to take from me, now I want more. Mm-hmm. And now it's more this power struggle. And when power struggles, when you look at it and they're based on identity, bro, that's just a race war.
There's no other option.
Yeah, a power struggle based on identity is just a race war.
Okay. This makes sense now. I'm seeing so where is Nick in given that you've had experience through a lot of perspective, where is Nick Lay in your journey? If you were to tell me, where is he at per se? What does he become what Dak is today in 10 years when he in his 30s, or does he stay Dak Dr. Umar for his entire thing, or do the politics or the Jews get in his pocket and throw him a little something and he stay there? What you think gonna happen with Nick?
I was thinking about this yesterday in the shower, bro. I don't hope that doesn't sound crazy, but I just was listening to a podcast. I was listening to a podcast and I was thinking about this because, a lot of, we listen to a lot of content. We got to make sure we're catching up. So neither here nor there, whatever. Yeah. I like to give people like Nick Fuentes grace because I understand how it feels to speak out on something that's not a popular opinion and all the backlash and misrepresentation that's going to come your way when you are just standing on something that you have identified as a problem and you're very passionate about figuring out the solution to that problem. So when I always relate to people like Nick Fuentes, even though I may not agree with that. I don't agree. I hate even people saying that. I'm not even going to say what I was getting ready to say because it's almost like an out. Don't need to do that. I relate to people like Nick Fuentes because when people have the courage to jump out there and speak their truth, whatever that may be, to actually voice their opinions about what they truly feel in a world and society where everybody does certain things and hides their hand or does all the phony stuff. I respect the fact that Nick Fuentes is willing to jump out here and say exactly what he feels. If you say the N-word in your personal life, I'm glad. Say it to the public. Say it to the public. I may not like that you use it, but I respect the fact that you're willing to use it in a public setting the same way that you would use it in a private setting. I respect that honesty. That people who are phony make me uncomfortable. So when it comes to Nick, I hope that I give him grace. And I think that in the next 10 years or as he goes on, he'll mature. I think that he'll mature and have a greater calling because right now I feel like his calling is very limited. When you are a man of faith, as he reminds us all the time, and you're only focusing on white Christians, how can you be a man of faith, respect God, who obviously God is the creator of all things, but only be focusing on a small percentage of that population, or just, it doesn't have to be a small percentage minority, not talking like that, but you're only focused on a particular group. You're leaving out all these other people. So I do believe, and I like to give him grace that, as he goes on, he will continue to mature, realize that there's a lot of other people that he may not be thinking want to work with him and see the world maybe in a similar way and can partner on certain things. He may not even think that that's out there. When I talk to him about like, yo, you going on different Black platforms, his mindset was like, yeah, you know, I don't think that they'll like having me on there. And I'm like, bro, what? Like, there's a whole lot of black people. Like, you're not understanding the room, perhaps, because you're in your bubble. That there's a whole lot of people, black, white, brown, whatever color, that just agree with you on your stance and that actually respect the fact that you're willing to speak up for your people the way that you are.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that Nick will continue to grow. I think he'll continue to mature. But for me, I always give people like that the grace that I believe that are standing on certain principles. When I think back to Malcolm X was one of the most principled people that I've ever researched as far as discipline, as far as following something. He followed his faith in ways that ended up being detrimental to him because he ended up splitting away from his godlike father figure because he was standing on the principles more than his big homie. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to a guy like Nick, yo, you stand on those things. You be honest, you be open, you be vulnerable. And I've seen Nick go back and forth on a lot of these things where I do think that he'll continue to mature and hopefully voice a lot of these same things in ways that don't offend people, but get the same point across. I think that that's just something that he's got to figure out for himself, something that we're all trying to figure out. You know, what do you and I talk about religion? You know, I may talk on this show in a different way that I talk about religion than perhaps if I'm just having a one-on-one conversation. But it's not that I'm trying to come up on here and be phony. I'd rather just say it as direct as I say it maybe in a lot of these other conversations. However, you realize that the audience that you're speaking to, and do you want to be right or do you want to actually move people in a direction and get them open, you know, first even allowing them to be open enough to even hear what you're saying and to process what you're saying. So I think that he can get his same point across in ways where he doesn't have to offend so many people. So many people. I mean, if he just look at it like this, if he just stopped saying the N-word, how many black people would be rocking with Nick Fuentes when you actually look at the things that he's saying? If he just took that one word out of his vocab, what would you disagree with?
Mm-hmm.
What would most black people disagree with? You know, like, and I just feel like he leans into that too much for me. He leans into it because it's an easy play. It's an easy play where he's just so focused on appealing to his base, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. He's so focused on appealing to his base. And it's like how black people, so you want to be a real nigga so bad. I don't need black people to give me a real nigga stand. Like, I don't need that. And once you move beyond that, it opens you up to pursue different strategies of maybe getting to the same goal, but it opens you up to maybe working with a different set of people. It opens you up to using different strategies that you typically would have been closed off to because you just so focused on being a real nigga. That's what I see in Nick Fuentes. Like, bro, you so focused on being based that now when Candace Owens gets brought up because you hate Candace, you got to call her a black bitch. Like, you got to say it in a certain type of way where it's like, bro, I haven't, this seems like a different type of energy that you're presenting compared to a lot of these other people. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I feel like the things when you talk about black crime, you just got to go a little bit overboard when it's like, bro, like, that's not even like, is that really do black people, are they really significant like that in a lot of these things? So it just makes me question, but, you know, looking at, I've been in that position where not anything like him, but just on a smaller scale. So I can only imagine what it's like being on it from his platform. But you want to appeal and attract to your home base, bro. You know, it could be a scary place being out there by yourself where now your home base is questioning you, because look at what this happens, bro. You and I just talked about this the other day. When you're a common sense person, everybody hates you.
Yeah, we were talking about that. It's like it's the worst to be in the middle because nobody supports the middle person.
Yeah.
And so, like, trying to bring civilization to all or trying to bring peace to all will get you more hated than just being flat out racist. Because then you ain't got to worry about racist people not fucking with you. They fucking with you.
Right.
You just got to worry about the people the people that you're hating on not fucking with you. But the person in the middle trying to bring peace from the person that's racist and then the person who's not racist, they're like, why do you fuck with him? He's racist. And they're like, why you fuck with them? That's who I'm racist against. So it's like both people looking at you like, man, shut the fuck up. We ain't off none of that. So it's just like if you don't go polar, then you really just stand in a position where niggas that cats ain't fuck with you to begin with.
What's the first sentence that you said? The first part of what you just said.
In the sense, like being on both sides, like when you're in the middle, it's like fucking with somebody like who's racist.
Look at Tucker Carlson. This is exactly what Nick Fuentes called him out maybe a couple shows ago. He's like, a friend to all is a friend to nobody. Tucker Carlson's trying to appeal to everybody. Everybody hates him. Knicks fans hate him. Like on every single side, people hate Tucker Carlson.
Damn, you don't like him either?
No, I rock with Tucker.
Yeah,
but Nick calls him out, like the people that are, let's say you have this group of people that are willing to call out Israel, right? But Nick Fuentes is willing to call out Jewish culture. So it's a different, like a lot of people are willing to call out Israel. But Tucker Carlson, he'll call out and go very hard calling out Israel, calling out the genocide that's being committed. But then he also, so he's on that side of it. But Tucker, a lot of people may look at that and say, hey, that's more of a liberal argument. You align more with Democrats. But the Democrats hate him for their other reasons. You know what I mean? So it's like you're always going to, when you just look at, when you're not aligning yourself with certain issues and having a certain perspective on an issue, I should say, based on who your group is, you're always going to piss people off. They can't control you. This is why they hate Thomas Massey. He's not just going to go along with whatever Trump does. Or like a Megyn Kelly will say, this is the conservatives. Thomas Massey is not looking at it like that. He's looking at it like, yo, I'm aligned with my principles. So at any point in time where my Republican affiliation or conservative affiliation doesn't align with my principles, I'm choosing my principles.
Yeah.
And Farielli, hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly, said Malcolm X changed when he saw the real face of Islam, united in worship of one God, whereas the other. Yeah, I agree with that. Malcolm X did change his stance when he went on his pilgrimage to Mecca or when he came back. A lot of people say that was just convenient, that there's no way that he didn't know that there were Muslims that were white and all different colors. A lot of people thought that was just him doing something convenient based on his split with the nation. But either way, that was his stance. His stance did change. So there. But yeah, I want to get to this comment that Papo wrote. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Popo.
Yeah, definitely Popo. My fault. So he wrote, respectfully, he doesn't need a black audience for what his goals are. He doesn't police speech for blacks, women, libs, etc. You are wrong. Wang half. So what am I wrong about? Did I say that Nick needs black people?
I don't remember hearing that.
Did I say that?
I mean, I think it's clear that you were just giving the example of how he would have a bigger audience if you dropped the word like nigga.
Correct. Nick doesn't need nobody. Nick can do whatever he wants. I don't even know what let me ask you this, Popo, and you don't have to send any money. But what exactly are Nick's goals? I would say for you, as somebody who's a Nick Fuentes supporter, I'm assuming just based on the Wang half, what exactly are Nick's goals? And for you, you're telling me that I'm wrong. I don't even know what I'm wrong about. Like I've said that I don't have an issue with Nick's. What Nick's do. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And exactly what you said is, and then I think he wrote it, he doesn't need a black audience for what his goals are. Yeah, I said we have different goals.
You literally said this.
We have different goals. What I think is going to happen, this is who Nick Fuentes is trying to make sure that he always appeals to. This is the base that makes Nick Fuentes always try to appeal to his audience. His goals are to end unlimited immigration and ensure the survival of the American whites. So you're saying that he doesn't need black people for his goals, and you're saying that I'm wrong, but he hasn't done any of these things. So you're just speculating at this point, saying that he doesn't need black people to end unlimited immigration. Well, if that's his goal, then I guess didn't Donald Trump already end unlimited immigration? Now, when it comes to the second part that you wrote, to ensure the survival of the American whites, I guess he doesn't need black people for that. I can definitely play a role. Ask white women. You don't think that it'll play a role if black men or other men decide, hey man, we're gonna go after a lot of these beautiful white women. Maybe he does need black people. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But I still don't understand what he's saying that I'm wrong about.
You touched on something with that, and I saw this in the chat going earlier. I'm interested to talk about when we say the survival of American whites. Well, let's talk about that from a cultural standpoint. Let's get into the dynamics of men and women. Do white men possess what the white women are wanting to continue? Are they looking for alignment? Are they looking to get married? Or we have to listen also to the other side when it comes to the female perspective as well, too, because there is no survival of American whites with, I don't care how many policies, et cetera, et cetera. If women are not in alignment with the men to begin with, which we've seen this Venus and Mars war going on for so long, what does that look like for American white men per se? Like, they need strong men. They don't like, are women attracted to men that are running around saying Wang half? Or are they attracted to men that start the movement Wang half? Do you have
the followers and the guy is different?
The varsity starting quarterback or the guy in the comments speaking of, like, so also, like, yeah, you can put as many policies as you want, but I mean, it sounds all good to the man walk in the room and your girl don't want you no more. So what does that look like also for the white American too? Like, they also have to be attractive. You also got to be on your shit. You got to be on your square. How do we win how do we win the attraction of white women? What do they want? We want to hear what they want also, so that we don't think this is a bunch of dick swinging competition dudes that, like, nah, you don't create a policy that makes girls want this man, period. So are we taking that into consideration? I feel like that's a kind of like a angle like we don't even think about.
Yeah.
Abu Han said this convo about to get crazy. Go ahead.
I would be very concerned, yo. I would be very concerned because this is why, I guess this is another reason why I understand what Nick is saying. Nick can walk into a room. Do I want to go that way? Let me say this first, and then I'll address, why I think that I would be concerned if I was Nick Fuentes. But let's be clear. Nick Fuentes is big because white people have failed. That's why he's relevant. Like, the only reason why there's a rallying cry around Nick Fuentes is because the numbers have pummeled. Robert put it up. In 1920, we saw what the numbers were compared to now. So the only reason, like, you could sit here and say that, Nick Fuentes doesn't need this, doesn't need that to succeed. Well, first you got to succeed. And then I guess we could sit back and see what it took to succeed, because based on what we're looking at right now, when it comes to white Americans, I would say that they have lost. And now they're trying to rally around a guy like Nick Fuentes and gain more of their power back.
That makes sense.
But perhaps Popo may want to reconsider that, because with the alliance between Jewish people and black people, there's a reason why black people are pushed to see the world in a particular way. Because that all that stuff y'all talk about, the white Americans and stuff like that, but we watch these videos on Jewish people. Jewish people may be aligning with black people out of convenience and out of self-interest when it comes to Israel and Jewish people who don't see them the same way as who don't see themselves as you or as Nick Fuentes. And I don't even think Popo, I believe Popo was black based on his photo, but maybe not. Neither here nor there. But perhaps Nick Fuentes will realize, like a lot of his followers will realize, that you do need a little bit more people than just the people that are, going to be groipered out right now. Because 10 years from now, a lot of these people may have kids, may have families, may not care as much about this. May not even care as much about this. So we'll see what happens. You could say that I'm wrong. I guess, okay, I guess we'll let time tell. And also, without giving it too much attention, your second part of your comment is he doesn't police speech for blacks, women, libs, etc. Who said anything about this? Did I say anything about Nick Fuentes policing speech, or am I the person that polices speech? I literally just said that I appreciate that. That's one of the things that I appreciate about Nick is that he's willing to say exactly what's on his mind and not hold anything back. So I'm wrong. Yeah, cool. But what video will we look? Oh, I want to show. So let's move the conversation. I want to show you this this video. I don't know.
Oh, it's 10 o'clock.
Oh, nah, we out of here. So Popo said I'm double talking now. What am I what am I missing?
I don't know, man. You know,
like somebody tell me what I'm missing. What do you want me to say that Nick Fuentes doesn't need black people? Okay, like I don't care. Like okay.
You're saying things on both sides. Like
yeah, a lot of people
say you don't understand. Like I don't know. Like be specific, bro. Like this general. You're saying like nobody else is confused but you, bro. Just raise your hand and ask the question.
And perhaps we need more people saying things on both sides. Perhaps we shouldn't look at all this stuff as just black and white. Perhaps actually that's what your big homie Nick Fuentes actually discusses a lot. I watch his show every day.
Oh, not the big.
He actually discusses that as far as playing both sides. He's not a liberal. He's not a conservative. He will literally brag about playing both sides.
But this is what happens when people can't remove them.
Yeah. But I guess it's different. Yeah, like maybe ease up on the
like maybe remove
the critical. Let's go big critical. He need to come to the Discord. Matter of fact, join the Discord, and we're gonna sick you on critical. That's gonna be critical's DP. We're gonna give critical a DP for tapping out of the conversation. We're gonna lock him in a room with Popo in a group chat. So let me put this actual Discord in the chat real quick.
Yeah, Finn said, yeah, it's called balance. Yeah, I don't.
It's like, yo, what do you want? You want me to say Nick Fuentes doesn't need black people? Okay, cool. Like,
yeah, like cool, bro.
Like all right. Like,
he's got that job. Like,
yeah. What I was right. What I was trying to say, and perhaps this is the exact point when Nick tries to go out of his way to appeal to his base, like Popo, is that you're losing out on a lot of people that actually agree with what he's saying. Like now you're telling me, a black person that puts up Nick Fuentes videos every day, that does review videos of Nick Fuentes' show for the last 3 months, every single one, you're telling me that Nick Fuentes doesn't need me. Cool. I mean, he probably doesn't. He doesn't.
You literally follow a black guy who supports Nick Fuentes.
Yeah,
but no balance.
And look at and your mindset and your conversation. Did you just unite us or did you separate us? Now I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Like now it's like I want to say something where it's like now you're forcing me to like push against him. Like I'm not going to do that because I'm just going to stay on my stance. But yeah, it's just we just see how these conversations tend to go. But,
yeah, and they go back and forth, and then so maybe. Yeah. All right. Nice.
Leave it there. Leave it there.
Leave it there. You know.
All right. So let's leave it there. Join the Discord.
Today was a good positive one today.
Yeah. Join the Discord, Popo. I just put it in the chat, right? Join the Discord. We'll throw it on the screen. Do us a favor. Like. Man. Real quick before we go, what do you think about comments like this?
All right. My bad, I erased it.
America will fall if it doesn't stay Christian majority.
All right, here's the Discord right here. Discord. All right, and then yeah. All right, so from our big homie, Big Ski,
you just saved me.
Yeah, from our big homie, because we're not gonna get baited into this shit. So shout out to our bro. This is one of the most important times of the show when we focus on our breathing. Shout out to our big homie Steve, who taught us box breathing. It starts off at I don't know, Dak. You gotta take the baton. I don't know the particular.
Hey, come on, bro. All right, man. We're gonna do our box breathing. As BK said, our big bro introduced this box breathing technique to us, where we focus on getting rid of a lot of the negative energy that we have built in us, especially when we have a lot of these heavy conversations. So we try to make sure that we could just meditate, manifest, get our breath work in, get refocused, and understand what the goal is. A lot of these conversations centered around us having arguments here and there when it comes to strategy. Maybe we just don't have the same goals. And I think it's important for us to be clear on what our goals is. So what our goals are. So use this time to just do whatever it is that you need to do. Create a blank slate, get your breath work in, manifest whatever your goals are, whatever it may be. But just be very intentional with this. Every inhale, focus on inhaling positive energy. Every exhale, focus on exhaling the negative energy. And it's going to be a 4-second inhale followed by a 4-second hold, a 4-second exhale, releasing the negative, and then a 4-second hold. So that'll be the series. We'll go through it 4 times. And if you are in a safe place, please close your eyes. It hits different that way. But do what makes sense. So we're going to start with our 4-second inhale now. Ready, begin. Hold. Release. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Release. Hold. Inhale positive. Hold. Release that negative. Hold. All right, on this next one, make sure you get a big, feel the energy being inhaled into your system. Ready, begin. Hold. Keep holding. We're getting ready to release the last bit of that negative energy out of our system. Go. Hold. All right. Hit that like button one more time for us. Y'all know we come here to do elevate on purpose, elevating our standards to become the best leaders we can become that are needed now more than ever, as well as challenging ourselves to grow in the areas that are necessary for us to attain these amazing goals that we set for ourselves. All right. Strength and honor, onward and upward. Let's make sure we're getting to that bag. For those that don't know what I mean when I say get into the bag, it's all the things that are aligned with, you know, as we're living in our purpose, striving for this purposeful abundance, the overall impact that we're going to have on this world that we like to call our personal legend. When we say get into the bag, those focuses are going to make sure that we're on the proper trajectory and moving as efficiently as possible to attain our goals. So you got to figure out what your goals are, figure out a strategy to attain them, figure out what's going to be necessary to overcome those obstacles along the way, and go from there. Let it serve as your compass and guardrails. So then I guess do I need to change I always consider changing some of the things that are in my bag. We'll leave them the same for now, but things that I focus on are peace, love, happiness, health, wealth, and in everything we do, integrity. And of course, we got to have that po balance. On that note, BK, I'll let you share some positive words of wisdom from you as well as the rest of the team, and we can be on our way.
Yeah, Robert with the BK didn't take the bait. We're talking about this religious shit. No, we're not going there today. We're gonna breathe. We're not gonna start all today. Definitely, man. Have a good day. Unc in the building. Shout out to Robert, always in fact in the chat. Unc, I see you told me to look at a movie. Dak, have you seen this one that Unc talking about? I think it's called Once Upon a Time in America.
I haven't seen that.
Okay. Well, definitely look that one up. I appreciate that. Robert asked about what's up with the new channel. I'm assuming he's talking about Patreon, right? Yeah, we're still working through those things. We're definitely going to have a launch the first week of January is our goal here. So we're just working some things out logistically with that. But obviously, we want to go into the new year with definitely I won't say a backup resource, but another platform where we can also spread the message and have a good community that is looking to hear both sides of the fence, not one. And we think that maybe something like Rumble as well as Patreon, these are some other platforms that we think will be definitely allow us to continue that journey. But yeah, as far as me, man, I think this was a great convo. It was good to, I think, for also the community, but as well as myself. I mean, I talk to Dak daily, but it's cool to see the change politically, the change as far as like what's most important to him and how that changes as a person. And I think we always need to allow people to change, whether it be in your benefit or it not, but just allow the evolving of a human. You know, life is a journey and it's a story that only makes sense backwards. And so for us, I do enjoy this path of just us coming together and sharing our truths, regardless of it. And, you know, that's what this community's foundation is going to be built off of. One is not more superior than the other. We want to hear the truth at the end of the day. And if your truth, as long as you are willing to stand on it, willing to say it, not too concerned about it being politically correct or having to support, that's the environment we're trying to create. We're trying to create young, old, but just overall good humans that stand on their beliefs and aren't willing to fall for anything, but willing to stand for something. And so that's the focus that we have here in the group. So for me, I ain't got nothing else, man. I see Unc got the flags in the million. One love, always, absolutely. I see South Africa.
Oh, we got an announcement. First off, so my mom told me yesterday, and she said that Donald Trump's speaking tonight at 9. He's addressing the country. I believe he's going to be talking about all the amazing things that he's accomplished thus far.
Nice.
So that's tonight at 9 p.m. Glay, I guess we got to stream that.
Oh, we going live tonight?
We got to stream that, so we'll be live at 9 p.m.
So you got to tell Corey. Oh, no, Corey pushed back. Never mind. C. Moses. I forgot we don't have our meeting today.
Yeah. I don't think it's today. Yeah, that's not today.
You're right. I forgot.
Right, so we'll go on at 9. We got to cover. Yo, Trump made the announcement. We got to cover it.
Okay, so 9 o'clock will be
open. He could tap in, and but we'll figure it out. Either way, we'll live stream from there. So if anybody actually wants to jump on tonight with us, all we're going to be doing is probably listening to what Trump is addressing, and then maybe afterwards or in between some commercial breaks here and there. Well, I doubt there's commercial breaks, but we'll be able to just kind of have a quick little conversation afterwards about it. If you want to tap in, cam up, let us know. Let us know. More than welcome. It'll be real chill. Night is going to be more chill. Nobody's going to bash you. Well, I don't know about that. But
I don't know about
that. Yeah, it'll be respectful either way. But what we may end up having on Friday, put on your schedule Friday. I'm not even sure if Glay, you know about this, but a while ago we reached out to a journalist, and he specializes on the Middle Eastern region and more in particular with Israel, Palestine. And he's a journalist, researcher. I'm not sure. A historian, I guess, would be the proper term. So he may be on Friday. I think that's the date that we finally locked in. So Friday could be one of those ones. That could be one of those marathons. But depends on, I guess, how long he agrees to stay on. But Unc says shoot him an invite for tonight. So, Robert, I see a few people. Anybody that wants to tap in, if you want to cam up, I promise y'all, like how we look at it is our job. We want to make y'all look good. And then when y'all get comfortable, then we'll start really pushing back, applying pressure. So you don't got to worry about that. And yeah, I guess I was supposed to give you the closing words, BK. So close it out. Come on.
Where the fire emojis? And where's the Marcus Aurelius?
We need a Marcus Aurelius quote, Finn. Hold up, give Finn a second. Because yesterday I peeped. We done shut down the show, and Finn tried to type it in last second. I still saw it, but I don't know if everybody else saw it. But hold on, I can't write the fire emoji.
There it is. Elevate.
Yeah,
he just sent it. There you go.
Forget the Marcus Aurelius. Give us the Finn. Go ahead.
Elevate with purpose, not just ambition, because rising without direction only takes you farther from who you're meant to become. Big Finn, 7-4. We out.
Steve said Finn is quoting Finn.
He has been doing that this week. I've been peeping.
Legendary, bro. Hey, Finn, legendary, bro.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, man. We'll see y'all tonight, 9 p.m. Hopefully sharp. No, we'll be on a little earlier. To get
there. You go.
We'll be on a little early. Watch this.
Promise.
I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna put it out there. We'll be on by 8:48. Tap in with us. Cammed up, not with the 5-minute countdown. Cammed up at 8:48. We'll see where Glaze at.
Under promise, over deliver. I'm out.
Nah. That is the under promise. We should be on even earlier than 8:48. But 8:48.
Why don't we just get on at 5 p.m., man? Golly.
No. We gotta live life. Balance. Come on, bro. Balance.
Oh, you know what? I'm out of this pod. You playing both sides. I'm off of this pod.
Yeah, we out. We'll see y'all later tonight.